Welcome to day 5 of CRM Analytics course. You are almost halfway there. You've created your Salesforce instance, you registered a data set, you explored your data set. Today, it's time to get slightly more advanced. Today, we're going to create some custom formula like year over year. We are going to look at running totals, conditional formatting, add reference lines, and we are going to tour the data prep recipes. So the first thing that we always do is log into Salesforce. Once you log into Salesforce, you want to arrive at Analytics Studio. Once you're in Analytics Studio, you want to explore this data set. So you can simply click on this data set, or you can search for the data set in this search bar. So let's click on this. And when you click on this, you know it's always going to show you the count of rows. Now, what we want today is to create some formula, right? So if you click here, this gives you a table mode. So this is your basic table, rows and columns, but the table that we want to use is compare table. And this, my friends, is an extremely powerful functionality within CRM Analytics, and you are about to see why. So when I click on this is what I get, right? I simply get count of rows, 9,994 listed here. Now, what I want to do is I can group it by, let's do category. Okay, so I get this category, but can I create running total? Okay, so let's do that. If you don't know what running total is, you're going to see it in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go click on this plus button and I am going to click on this add formula. Now, when I click on add formula, look what happens. It opens a new window. I can build a formula. So now I'm going to first click on this and I am going to click on running total. Okay, so let's click on running total and I am going to click on apply. Now you see what running total is. The first row is 2121, which is 2121. The second row is 2121 plus 6026, which is 8147. The third row is 8147 plus 1847, which comes to 9994. That's how running total works. Now let's go ahead and create one more formula. Okay, so the formula that we want to create is, let's go here, click on add formula, and I just want to multiply this count of rows by 20%. Okay, just for no reason. Okay, so it's very easy to do that, and the way to do that is, you see this label here, the label here is A, so I'm going to simply type in A. I want to multiply it, so I'm going to multiply that, and 20% is 20 divided by 100, which is 0.2. So I'm going to go here and say 0.2. Okay, and now when I apply, I get 20% of count of rows. Now we used count of rows, but what if you wanted to see 20% discount, right? 20% of sales, things like that. You can create that formula very easily right here. Okay, so I'm going to click on close. Now I am going to show you how to create year over year sales. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I am going to delete these things. Delete. I'm going to delete this, and I am going to change this to sum of sales. The next thing that I'm going to do is I need year over year. I don't need this grouped by category. I need this grouped by years. So I'm going to go here and I am going to select the, let's do order date, and I am going to select, so as you can see, when I select order date, I can select year, quarter, year, month, year, week, year, month, day. I can even go down to hour, minute, and second. But now I am going to select year. And as you can see, it's giving me sales. So in 2014, there was $484,000 worth of sales. 2015, 470,000. 2016, 609. 2017, 733. I don't know by what percentage the sales has increased year over year. You can clearly see there's a growth, but we actually don't know what that percentage was. So again, to do that, very easy. All I'm going to do is click on this plus, click on add formula, and now I'm going to click on this FX. When I go here, I see this option which says period over period. So I'm going to click here and it's going to give me sum of sales. Since we only have year, it's going to only give us year over year, and you can actually calculate the year over year either by percentage or by unit change. Let's do both. So let's do unit change first, and then I'm going to click on apply, and there you go. I actually see $470,000. We saw a decrease in sale from 2014 to 2015, and then the sale has increased from 2015 to 2016, 2016 to 2017. Let's click on close. Let's create one more formula. Click on add formula, and FX period over period. This time we want it as percentage. So I'm going to click on apply, and I get this. Now I can change the name of this particular column if I want to. So let's say, let's give it percentage year over year change, and click on apply. Okay, click on apply. Oops, click on apply. Now there you go, I get year over year change. And similarly, if I want to change the name of this particular column, I can go here, I can click on edit this column, and I can change the name. It's that easy. Now let's take a look at reference lines. So I've logged into Salesforce again, Analytics Studio. I'm going to explore the same data set. So I'm going to click here, and let's do sum of sales, and I want that grouped by category. Okay. Now, what if your goal for each of the product is to hit $1 million, and you want to show a line on this particular chart that shows you how far away you are from that goal? So the easiest way to do that is, again, click on formatting, and let's go to the x-axis, and I'm going to add a reference line here, and let's say the value was $1 million. So one, start enough zeros. Nope. Okay, so this is $1 million. This is a line that I have here. Now I can also give it a label. That way, when someone is looking at it, they understand what this sales line is all about. So I can call it sales goal current year. And now when that happens, and let me click on this, I know that, well, I've not, for technology, I've not hit $1 million, but this is the closest to hitting my $1 million goal. And that's where reference lines can become incredibly powerful, especially in a sales driven organization where you want to show these reference lines in terms of goals, in terms of quotas, and so on. All right, so now let's take a look at conditional formatting. So again, I have logged into Salesforce. I'm in Analytics Studio, and I'm going to explore this lens. So I'm going to click on this particular sample Superstore 2. This is the starting screen. I am going to click on compare table. All right, so when I click on compare table, just like we did last time, we are going to do year over year sales comparison. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look at category. Then I want order date, and I want it by year. Okay, so what this is showing me is, and let me actually change this to sum of sales, sum of sales. Okay, so for each category, it is telling me what the sale was in 2014, what the sale was in 2015, 2016, 2017. Now, we are going to create a year over year formula. So I'm going to go here, click on add formula, click on this, select period over period. It's going to be a percentage change, and click on apply. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of rows here, right? And I may want to bring my business leaders' attention when the value is negative, which means there has been a decline in sale, so that your business leaders or your users can investigate why the sale dropped as compared to previous year. And one way of doing that is formatting it, right? So we can conditionally format it, and the condition is, if anything is negative, show that particular cell in red. And the way to do that is to use this formatting button. So I'm going to click on this formatting button, and I can format these tables if I want to, but we are going to conditionally format this particular column. So I'm going to click on column, and there is a column that says conditional formatting. So I'm going to click here, And then now I am going to add a rule. So let's add a rule here. And I can say anything about, less than zero, right? Less than zero negative is going to be red. Okay. I can now even add a bin. So anything between 0 and let's say 0.25 is, let's do it, let's make it yellowish green, and everything above that is going to be green. Okay, so let's do this and see what we get. All right, as you can see, everything has now been conditionally formatted, and I don't need that, right? So I can simply go here and I can actually delete everything, right? And go here, delete everything, and click on apply. And this actually might be a better view, right? That way, your users' attention, your users' focus is directly on things that are declining. And that's how easy it is to design conditional formatting in CRMA. Now that the advanced formula section is clear, you know how to use compare table, and I encourage you to explore compare table by yourself even more. But for now, let's go ahead and explore data prep recipes. So to get to data prep recipes, again, you want to come to the homepage of the Analytics Studio and you can click on Data Manager. When you do that, it's going to open a new tab. When you open a new tab, you can click on recipes here and click on new recipes. Now let me explain to you what recipe is. And the best way to explain that is actually by bringing in one of the data sets that you created. So I'm going to create a select sample superstore data. Now when I click on this, it gives me all the fields that were created as part of the data set. Now, if you don't want certain fields, you can simply uncheck these fields. So let's say if you don't want the city or if you don't want the product name, you can uncheck those fields and those fields will not be available as part of your data sets. But for now, let's keep all these things in this place. So I'm going to click on next and there's a plus sign here. So when I click on plus sign, I get several options. So I can transform this data set. I can filter this data set. I can aggregate this data set. If you use Einstein discovery or machine learning, you can use the machine learning algorithm to predict what is going to happen. I can join this data set with a completely different data set, right? So you could have sample superstore and you could have maybe another data set here and you can join those two data sets. And we will do joins in detail in another video. If you have new rows that you want to add to this data set, you can use append, you can use update, and finally, the newly transformed data set is what you will register as your data set to perform computations on. Now, this might seem a lot, so let's just focus on a couple of nodes for today. So let's start with the easiest one, which is filter. Okay, so I'm going to click on filter here. And what filter does is it's allowing me to filter data. So as you can see, there is information for furniture, bookcases, ship date, customer name, and so on. Now, what if I only wanted uh, information for anything that has ship date of greater than 2016 or 2017? So the way to do that is I've clicked on, let's do it again. I'm going to click on this plus, click on filter. I'm going to click plus here. I am going to select the column that I want to filter on, ship date, and I can do relative or I can do absolute. So let's do greater than, oops, what happened? Ship date, greater than, and we want greater than 2016, I guess. So I am going to select 2016 December 31st. So anything, it's only going to return records that have a ship date starting 1st January 2017. So I can click on done here. And there you go. I am only seeing information related to 2017 and 2018. So I can click on apply here. Okay, now this step is done. Now the next thing that I may want to do is I want to aggregate this data. So let's show you what aggregate does. So aggregate is, let's say I want sum of quantity, done, I can group it by country, and I get, actually we only have one country, so let's change that. Let's do product, let's do segment. So if I do segment, I can quickly aggregate this data and I can start doing data analytics on this particular data set. We are not going to do that. We most likely, we like to do this in the lens that you saw in the previous day. All right. Now let's look at transform. This is a place where you're going to spend maximum amount of time. So, and there are several buttons here. So the first button is the formula. So you can create custom formula. There's date and time. Now I can create custom formula here. You can convert things into uppercase, lowercase, concatenate. There are tons of formula available here so that you can transform your data. Okay. We will do another video on this particular section. You can trim information, you can do a substring, you can even split information. So for example, let's say I want to split this. I can click here, click on split, and dash is my delimiter. When I do that, let's call it, yeah, let's call it split order ID. So now I will have, let's do split order ID. Cat. Okay, so now let's click on apply. And what it will do is it is going to create two different columns from this. So it's looking at delimiter here, CA dash, and anything before that, all CAs and US, it is going to store here. And maybe this is the state, I don't know, maybe California, United States, I don't know. It gives some information. Then the next thing it's going to do is everything after this delimiter 2017 11412, it is storing in another column. Now, if you want to split this further, you can simply click here and do another split. Okay. Now, let's say if you want all the subcategories in uppercase, you can simply click on uppercase and let's click on apply. And it is going to do the subcategory in uppercase. All right. I'm going to delete this as well. All right. Now you can also convert text to some other formula. You can bucket this. One thing that I do want to show you is the date difference. So let's say if I want to calculate the difference between the ship date and the difference between the order date. The easiest way to do that is simply, I'm just simply going to click on shipping date, and I'm going to go click on this formula and click on date difference. When I click on date difference, it's asking me what is the end date. So I'm going to select end date as order date. I want the duration returned in days. I'm going to say number of days and click on apply. When I do that, it gives me the difference of days between ship date and order date. So as you can see, it is very easy to transform your data. And again, I'm not writing a lot of code. I'm just simply clicking on buttons and providing information in the form of columns. Finally, there are some smart transformation, and this is what we will be covering towards the end of the course. So the first transformation is the sentiment analysis, right? So think of tweets, think of notes, think of customer comments. You want to understand if the customer is happy, neutral, doesn't feel happy about your product, things like that. So you can do quick sentiment analysis. You can also do time series forecasting. This is again what we are going to do. We are going to take a look at gold data set and use this time series forecasting to see what is going to happen. There's also predict missing values. A lot of times your data set is going to have missing values, especially for machine learning. You want to enter, or you want to fill in those missing values, and you can use this to enter missing values. You can also perform clustering with recipes. So as you can see, it is extremely powerful. Another thing that I love about recipes is I can simply highlight on a particular column and I can actually look at the column profile. So if I look at column profile, it tells me frequent values. So it's like a histogram, right? It's telling me binders has the 96 records, paper, furnishings, and so on. But here it's telling me that I don't have any missing values, and this is very, very important, right? Because if there were missing values, I would want to fill in those missing values, especially if I was doing some machine learning algorithm. That's it for today. If you completed this video, take a picture, share it on social media, and do not forget to tag me. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. I'll see you tomorrow.